Hello and welcome to today's edition of The Reaction. Once again, we are here to serve you. My name is Menkajo Kopere. We are here to do the next edition or the next episode of Growing Our Club's Value. And look, yesterday we had a lot of opportunities to delve into one of the key determinants of growing your clubs, and we stated that one of the key determinants of growing your club value is the financial performances. And we mentioned that under it, you would have to understand that the clubs will have to grow their match day income, tickets, and then hospitalities. And then I added a bit, then I summed it up on how they could do it and do it well. Today we are moving on to another key determinant of growing our club's value. Well, while centering it down to the Ghana Premier League. So we are going to look at the brand strength and then we'll look at the stadium assets. These two things are what we are going to merge up together just to have a comprehensive conversation on it. This is what we have for you today. And look, I promise it's going to be an exciting and interesting, educative presentation from me. My name once again is Mekajo Thanks for joining me. Let's do this. Hello, we are back again. And usually we would want to have bits and pieces of what goes around because I have always said it's not just about sports. In fact, sports is one of the only way or facets of life which keeps you disciplined, right? And with what we do here, look, let nobody be deceived. There is no personal interest. The only bigger interest in whatever we do is the national interest, is to push the agenda of getting our game to the next level. I chanced on a video, yeah, on I think is it the University of Ghana Radio, Radio Universe. A young lady was interviewing a young man. I'm told that the ongoing election, the SRC election, they just ended one, right? And then the young man was talking about how he is not interested, and it wasn't just him alone. Okay, there's an excerpt of it. Let's take a listen to it, and quite clearly, it is obvious that if we sit and we allow people to continue to lose interest in our game, it is going to have a bigger effect on whatever we do, right? It is quite clear. Now let's listen to the young man. Let's listen to the young man.
What level?
I'm in 300. Actually, I gave my phone out for a friend to vote.
Why?
I've lost interest in the election. Yeah. You vote, you don't see the results of the vote that you do cast. So
Okay.
when you're in an organization and people have lost interest in decision making, it's a proof that the future of the organization is bleak. So we should tell you that there's something wrong with the institution. So lots of people have lost interest. Like those who have been here like 3 to 4 years now. Nothing is enticing them to vote because at the end of the day, we don't see any improvements on campus. So
What's your take as compared to last year's SRC elections and this year? What's something different you are seeing?
the hope was high last year. There was keen competition. We had so much belief and trust in the outgoing regime. Honestly, we've not seen any positive impact on students, so there's no competition this time. And if you have an institution like University of Ghana, whereby there's only one candidate vying for that very good presidency position, then she tell you that no, there's something wrong with the institution.
So are you a student of Legon?
Yes, I am.
So have you voted?
No, I haven't, but my colleagues have. I'm not familiar with the candidates. Well, last year was actually good because the candidates were more engaging, and there's a lot of them that I knew personally. I haven't actually met many of them. I think the candidates I've met were the ones at my department.
Yep, we are back again. You just watch what the young man was saying. He wasn't veering towards any personal selfish interest or anything. It was very evident that yes, he claimed that. In fact, if you read into the comment section, I heard people say that. So a young lady even in the comment section said, so they are expecting us to cover 10,000 Ghana cedis for hostel facilities. Where do we go from here? What look, the kind of stuff we are actually putting ourselves through in this country as no as appalling and is not one that should be encouraged, right? We are gradually losing our self as humans, putting it ahead of us our interest, putting ahead of us what we stand to gain, and forgetting that it's a bigger picture in there. There is a bigger picture. Now let's move on. Let's not veer towards any other conversations. Let's get stuck to our conversation. Now back to it again. Yes, we mentioned that financial performance is very important. Now let's merge these two key determinants together: the brand strength and then the stadium assets. Now, the brand strength, one will say that where does it stem from? The brand strength will stem out from your financial performances, what you've been able to do over the years as a club, your squad that you have, the players that you have available, your facilities, right? So in your club, what do you own as a club? Do you own your own um does the club has its own hostel or hotel? Does the club has its own club camping place? Does the club has its own training facilities? Does the club has its own medical staff? That all these things come up sum up together, and then you see, for a club to perform so well and grow its brand strength, it comes back to the club licensing. Now, most often than not, we think that the club licensing is an isolated figure and growing our brands. The club licenses major, major principle or primary function is to also look at helping or aid, serving as an oversight, right? Which will guide the clubs to be able to grow their club. So, for example, if I'm a club licensing member and I'm supposed to supervise X club, I'm supposed to make sure that the club has all the basic needed assets for the club to be able to participate in the league. So in the Premier League, there is a standard to it, the number of capacity you need to be able to be a Premier League player. It should be there. You should insist on it as a club licensing member. If a club in the Premier League is supposed to own its own training facility and they don't have it, you don't give them the license. Right? All these things is to inure to the benefit of these same clubs. If I'm a corporate organization and I know that these clubs have their assets well done, they've built their brand in a certain level, their brand is attractive, their brand is a brand that if I'm a corporate organization and I'm getting myself affiliated to these people, I am gradually going to get myself up there. I'm going to make revenue, I'm going to make sales out of the sponsorship I'm giving out. But in this case, these corporate organizations want to sponsor, but in their quest to sponsor, what do they stand to gain? That is where we are now. That is a brand strength. The clubs don't have that strength. They don't have what it takes. Can Kotoko say that for today, I am going to play my match day, my game at Babaya Sports Stadium, and I'm going to guarantee my sponsor X number of fans at the stadium because of what my season's ticket that I've sold, right? Can they? Can they do that? Let's not waste time on it. Let's move on. Now, looking at the brand strength should also get you to the level where your merchandising, right, will work into it. Your club paraphernalia, all of that, it merges together, right? Aside that, you look at your stadium assets. Now, with your stadium asset, you should understand that the ownership status of the club, in terms of the ownership status, I'm talking about the club CEOs. I'm talking about who actually owns the club, who is running the club. Aside who owns the club, to who owns the club stadium. Is it for the club? Right now, if you put everything into under one umbrella, you get to realize that most of our clubs are literally running on 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 unprofessional skills because the club licensing have failed to be proactive, and they failed to the core, right? To the extent that all they can tell us is if they don't do that, then it means that there is not going to be a league. If you are going to have just 5 clubs playing in the league and you are going to have a better and quality league, it's better. That would be the best thing to do. But in our case, our clubs, they don't even know that This is the number of fans I have. If you go to them, the bigger ones in the league will tell you, I have X number of people on socials. Transition these social media numbers to the ground and let's see whether it will work. If it is working, we wouldn't have been here on socials. We don't play football on socials. We play football on the grounds. We play football on the grounds. This is where we bring an end to today's edition of The Reaction. I was 9 doing this with you. I enjoyed it. Please do want to click on the subscription button, click on the notification button as well. My name